what you'll see is an absolute massive project that we've got going on, from thousands upon thousands of different species of corals being grown in our section of Indonesia.
Yes, people, what's good, and welcome back to the channel, guys. So today I've got a special interview with World Fauna Imports, and this is Kurt, who manages the marine or coral side of the company. So Kurt, thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so today I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to learn more about World Fauna Imports, and some questions that people may want to know the answers to, because there's a lot of controversy, a lot of scrutiny around your company at the moment. I just need to be very neutral, ask you these questions so that people can know exactly what's been going on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Crack on.
Okay, so tell us about yourself, how you got into the hobby, why you love coral so much, and tell us a bit more about your company.
So I'm 29 years old now. I first got into the industry when I was about 15, 16. I had my first job. I was earning pennies. I went out and bought my first fish tank, and I decided to go from keeping tropical planted aquarium with my family to actually keeping my very own reef tank in my bedroom. That's where it all started for me. After a few years of keeping the tank, I loved it so much, I actually went and applied to my local fish store. They accepted my application, and I started working there. I spent about 4 or 5 years working with those guys before taking, I knew I loved the industry, I knew I loved corals, and I decided to take a leap and build a wholesale facility with my partner Jake Kennett. And that's where we supply corals, fish, clean-up crew, and we also do reptiles, amphibians, so on and so forth. And basically, World Fauna, what we do is we bring around the world amazing tropical livestock. We ship it into the UK, and then we supply it to, like I say, sea life centres, zoos, universities, your local fish stores, your local reptile stores. So yeah, we do supply a hell of a lot of animals to a hell of a lot of people.
Okay, so some good information about the conception of World Fauna Imports. Now, do you have any in-house projects currently going on? Because I know that you guys moved from your old facility to a bigger facility where you have loads of coral trays, and I'll put some videos up so you guys can actually see the amount of coral trays you guys have setting up at the moment. But tell me about the in-house projects that you have going on at the moment.
So we have people we work with in the UK that'll be either breeders or coral cultivators. So we do have some in-house projects. So if you're, just take for example, you're at home and you are growing, I don't know, a specific mushroom, and you've got hundreds of them, and you know that they've got a bit of value to them. Someone like myself will come along and we will tend to buy them all. Not to control the market or be a monopoly, but because they're in demand, because you guys want them corals. Now what we do, where we differ from a lot of our others out there, is we actually cultivate these corals, we actually make them more readily available, and we actually bring the price down on them. So what we are almost doing is replacing the corals we've been used to for 30, 40 years, and replacing it with the very corals we all know we want, that we see on the internet, that we see in people's tanks, your friends' tanks. Your local fish store, for example. World Fauna is here to better the industry by bringing the very best quality stock from around the world here in the UK, available for your fish tank.
So cool. So loads of stuff going on in the UK. You mentioned price earlier, but we'll come back to that. So abroad projects, what's been going on? Can you talk about your coral farms and how you cultivate, where you cultivate?
Yeah, so this is what makes World Fauna so special, and we've always been transparent about this. You can go onto our social media platforms and you can actually view our farms in the flesh, at home kind of thing. So what you can do is you can click on our farm, and what you'll see is an absolute massive project that we've got going on, from thousands upon thousands of different species of corals being grown in our section of Indonesia. And in our sections of Indonesia, obviously the government releases sort of regulations. You can only ship so much out a year and so on and so forth. So what we've got is a very sustainable way of doing things. So we are constantly planting. We will be planting a lot more corals in the ocean than we're actually taking out, because it's, funnily enough, going to be obviously growing a lot faster in the oceans. It is a lot more stable in the oceans. I mean, that is, you know, we are watching David Attenborough and stuff like that, and they are telling you, you know, what is happening. It is true. But right now, in the period we're at in the world we are in, we can still keep growing corals in the ocean. That may change. It may come a day due to global warming, due to pollution, so on and so forth, where we have to change that. But right now, we are growing absolutely thousands of corals in the ocean. Now, what makes us unique from our competitions with our farms is when a coral is readily available on a large scale in the UK, what we will do is not get rid of it from our farm, but put it to the back of the line. And then what we'll do is, say we take, for example, rainbow tenuas. We will plant thousands of rainbow tenuas, give it a few months of growth, we will have an absolute army of rainbow tenuas, and that is then readily available from the UK, and that is our goal. Our goal with our facility is to not only produce good quality stock, but lots of it available for everyone in the industry. So we're kind of, like we say, replacing the old and putting it in with the new. And that will continue to develop over time. We will hit a point where even with the very best coral, we're going to want that next best thing. And that's where World Fauna comes in. We are constantly innovating our livestock, our farms, and our system at home to be more efficient.
Now, Kurt, we spoke earlier over a cup of coffee. We're talking about a flooded market. Now, for those who don't understand, because I barely understand this, what is a flooded market and how does importing corals within the UK or to the UK and selling on affects a flooded market? What exactly is that?
Right, so at the moment, best way to sum this up is currently what's going on in the UK at the moment is, now a lot of people will probably agree with me in your audience, every shop you go in, everywhere you go at the moment, we're seeing the same stuff. Dragon souls, 24k gold torches, tiger torches, small cheap hammer gardens, gonny gardens. Now all of this is coming from Indonesia. It is always coming from the same companies, myself included, and obviously our competition. Now the problem with that is there's 5 or 6 wholesale / importers are bringing in the exact same stock. Two things are going to happen. A flooded market where everyone's got the same stuff, and then the other thing is price wars. People will all start to undercut each other and reduce the price so that they get the sale. And the problem with that is they get the sale, he has to get the sale, he has to get the sale, he has to get the sale. And before you know it, the coral is so far down that no one is in the shops, in the e-commerce world, making great deals of money from this coral, which they need to do to pay for the rent, pay for the electric, to pay for the water, you name it. They need that profit to be able to stay alive, to be able to function and supply you guys with what you guys purchase from these shops. So where we come in World Fauna is we have exclusive deals with countries like Australia. We've gone out to Australia, we've signed a deal with them, we've told them not to supply our competition, and we will take absolute hell of a lot of that coral each year, each month, as much as we can get of it, and we will make sure that these shops are getting the very best price for it, and it's the best quality, and it's now available for you guys. So the problem you have is, it does go through a little bit of a circle, but flooded market, price wars, and then the other thing is everyone's going to have those corals in a moment. So for 5 years of Indonesia just constantly coming in with the same stuff, the problem is you're all going to have those torches, you're all going to have those, and you're going to be looking for something different. And that's again where World Fauna comes in. We are ahead of the market, we are ahead of the game by watching these things happen, and we make these deals with these countries, and we prepare for big opportunities within the industry. So for example, jelly bean, jawbreakers, flaming sunrise acro, all of this species comes through World Fauna, and these come through Indonesia, but the problem is they're so readily available. I'm now having to channel our money and our aim into other corals, such as acroporas, such as favias, such as goniostrayas, because what we're finding is so many people are focused on types of corals, such as torches, such as what's it called, frog spawns, and what we're finding is because we're also getting bored of that, and we're all fighting for price on it. So where we come in and have a unique setup is we have a different product, a different coral, and that way we are staying with the times. We're ever so adapting. So yeah, like I say, at the moment there's a lot of things that are available.
Yeah, so I've noticed a lot of the corals that you're talking about, you mentioned there, like the frog spawn and that in the shops, and I've kind of seen like some of the prices are coming down a little bit on some of them, also online as well. So I just want to just pick your brain as to your process or your protocols from you have your coral farms in whatever parts of the world.
Yeah.
Tell me Or tell us about the process when you get them, get shipped, when they arrive in the UK. What do you do, and what is your survival rate of
Right,
your
so
corals?
let's talk about that. And that's what makes us so, again, so special as a company. As you can see, how quality and how good our corals are, yeah? So when you walk into your shop and you see a wild fauna coral, you're instantly like, wow, amazing. So what we do is, obviously abroad, we have this amazing farm where we have all our corals growing. Then the next set stages are extremely important. And this is maybe where I am that up on my competition. So our corals from the ocean come into synthetic. Now that's where ocean water is transferred over, that everything's acclimated correctly, lights are replicated, salinity is replicated, so on and so forth. And what we do is we bring the corals over into synthetic, which is what we guys have at home with our salt water tanks that we use out of our buckets. And what we'll do is we'll actually match the brand that we're using here in the UK, we will use abroad. Now we'll bring those corals onto the synthetic systems. They'll be rested and treated. Then for about 7 to 14 days, whilst we get the aeroplane ready, flights, whatever you want to call it, ready to bring over. Once we get all that paperwork, once we get all the flights ready, those corals are being rested and treated in Indonesia. We then fly them to the UK where it goes through it all again. I then load everything onto the systems. Mad, that is grueling. I could start at 9 p.m. at night and I may finish at 9 a.m. the next morning, sometimes later than that. Obviously it's livestock, so it is a duty for us to get the corals from A to B and onto the systems as quick as possible and as smooth as possible and as safe as possible. So all the corals come onto the system. Then what we then do is treat the systems directly. So each system has manual hand dosage to the sumps that will then go around the water and actually treat. So just like you guys have dosed probably before flatworm exit, it's kind of like that process. You dose directly to the water and then you watch the results. So we do the exact same here, from flatworm to pathogenic bacteria, to pests of all sorts. So yeah, we treat directly. And then what makes us unique to our competition is our quality. It's always about our quality. You will always come in here and be mesmerized by our stock. You will always see the very best health in our stock. And that's what makes us so special. I can guarantee, and I stand by this, based on 3 years worth of shipping overnights to all these shops around the country that you guys shop in, 99.9% of our corals survive. There must be a freak in the weather or in the couriers for things to go wrong, like the van breaks down, or we've got a crazy storm like up in Scotland at the moment. Other than that, the corals are fine. So long as we pack efficiently, which we do with our heat packs, which we do with our packaging, which we do with our water chemistry, we make sure that everything's all good, 99.9% of the time everything is okay. And that is also from the ocean to synthetic, to the UK, to being rested, and then to your shop, and then into your home. It goes through all that process, and our stock here at Wild Fauna, we can always guarantee you a strong, solid, healthy product.
So once the corals are in the UK, you're a wholesaler, someone will come, a business will come, that's brick and mortar, purchase from you, and they start selling or fragging that coral. So with your prices...
Not necessarily just brick and mortar.
So what else?
Sometimes we deal with universities, zoos, sea life centres, and obviously we do deal with e-commerce. The world has changed. COVID has changed the world. We were used to, and I worked in it, brick and mortar for many, many, many years. However, people will agree, everyone shops around kind of thing with the corals. Everyone's looking for that next best coral, but the internet has grown, it has become massive, and it is a big part of the coral economy now. Sorry to interrupt you there, Narayan.
No, it's fine. It's good as we're going on. What I just wanted to know is, like, all your efforts within the UK to give, good, beautiful and hardy corals that are, say, unique and exclusive as well. How is that impacting the average reefer? People like me that work and have to, try to fund our hobby, which has gotten more expensive since, COVID hit. How is it benefiting us in the long run? So
the more I can bring in the very best coral, like, let's go back to it. You want to keep a fish tank, 100%, you want to keep some corals, but you need to do it within budget, you need to do it within limit. And that again is where Wild Fauna understands that I can't bring a coral in that's a crazy price from, say, Indonesia and have it available for you guys at a price you cannot afford. We have to work either in the ocean or here in the UK to make it more sustainable and more affordable. Now, to do that, we have developed technologies now. We've got saws, we've got procedures, we've got dips, we've got new methods to dosing your systems. These methods all play a massive part in how much our corals have developed. Okay, so we have gone through a very, very difficult stage in the world. Everybody has, from the world stopping to the economy coming difficult. And yeah, you go to work every day, you work hard, you come home to a more expensive electric bill, you come home to more expensive cost of living. So it is our duty to keep this industry alive, to keep this hobby alive by making it a hell of a lot more affordable, but not flooding the market and doing damage to ourselves and to the future of the industry by, you know, ruining something special.
All right, so Kurt, last question, yeah? Last question, I'll leave you alone after I get some coral from you.
No worries.
When I first started, I said to you that, you know, I've heard so many controversies or controversies and scrutinies, statements about you guys. Can you just summarize to the people watching at home why you think that is?
I mean, it's a negative subject, sadly, but when there's two guys that have come on the scene and have disrupted and upset, not a monopoly, but control at the top for 30, 40 plus years, you know, that's not going to go down too well, especially when, you know, our competition definitely have, some of them have 20 plus members of staff, and it's myself and my partner against those guys. And what we are delivering is a lot more change to the industry, because we're providing such quality stock, such efficient way of doing it, such like low overheads, low staff. To achieve this, we can achieve better pricing for corals, which leads to obviously you shops loving us, which then leads to the customers loving the shops, that leads to them buying more corals from them shops, which then buy more corals from me, which in return obviously affects my competition, because the money, the economy is now coming towards wild fauna and not where it originally has been for such a long period of time.
Oh, good stuff. Thank you so much for answering all my questions, and I hope the people at home, people watching, get some clarity as to what who World Fauna is, their mission in the UK, and the service that they are providing to us as regular reefers. I didn't know. I wanted to know. I'm very neutral in this conversation. I just wanted to hear what was going on, and what I've seen and the stock that they have, especially the trackies, they absolutely are amazing, guys. So I'll leave link in the description below for Kurt's Instagram or World Fauna's.
And I will just add, basically, right, I don't mean to interrupt, I just want to say, if you're a shop or if you're a customer that want to purchase World Fauna stock from a shop and that may not or may deal with us, and you're worried about whatever's going on or whatever's being said online, you can have the proper, correct documents provided by World Fauna to the shop, to you guys. Please don't hesitate to ask. We have always been transparent. We are 100% legal, and we have the paperwork for all of our livestock always.
Right, guys, thank you so much, Kurt, for answering all our questions, and the questions I think a lot of people wanted to know the answers to.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had a look around the shop, and I think the shop absolutely looks amazing. You know, you guys are starting fresh, starting new stock, new tanks. I can't wait to see the SPS tank, what that looks like, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. I'll put a link in the description below to your website, to your Instagram, so at least the people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, man.
And also, guys, comment on this video and let us know what you're thinking. Kurt will be in the comments answering your questions.
Cool.
Make sure you subscribe, guys, and I think, Kurt, I probably will invite you for a part 2 to this, where we do a face-to-face podcast.
Please do, because we've got some crazy stuff coming in the future, some crazy corals, some crazy fish, some crazy new projects. So please, please, please keep tuned and do keep an eye on us. Your tanks are going to look amazing right before Christmas, and 2024 is a massive, massive, massive time for this industry. It's important to get that across to you guys.
Wicked, wicked. Right, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, guys. I'll see you next time.
Peace.